6 minutes after 7 on Tuesday, July 15th. I'd like to call the board meeting to order. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Orth?
Here.
Trustee Whitaker?
Here.
Trustee Fowler?
Here.
Trustee Gallen?
Here.
Trustee Yedis?
Here.
Trustee Elfman?
Here.
Okay. In keeping with the new tradition, I'd like to give a little bit of a president's report as we kick things off tonight. We are continuing to do outreach to organizations to ensure that we have a good working relationship between the village and our partners. And to that end, Trustee Whitaker took Patrick and I earlier this month to visit RED Center, which stands for Regional Emergency Dispatch, so RED Center in Northbrook. RED Center is a consolidated fire and EMS dispatch center providing services to 13 fire departments and fire protection districts. We met with their executive director, Jason Rogers, and the dedicated men and women who provide the calm voice on the other end of the line. And we actually got to see them doing their work when calls came in and going through a series of questions to the person on the other end of the line, just trying to make sure they had all of the pertinent information for the first responders. Trustee Whitaker is currently the chair of the board of RED Center, and I wanted to take a minute to thank him for his additional service to the village in this capacity. So, Tom, thank you.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Great. On August 21st, I'll be taking part in the ribbon cutting for the renovations of the North Shore Senior Center. As I think we all know, they suffered significant storm damage earlier this year and were forced to close and do some major renovations to about half of their building. We look forward to that celebration and are thankful that they are back at full capacity serving our residents and those in the surrounding communities. There's a couple things on the consent agenda I just wanted to provide a little bit of background on as we move along here. We're happy to announce that we have new legal counsel for the village in the retention of Ansel Glink. The firm has a long history in the municipal space, and we look forward to having a fresh perspective. Tonight we are represented by David Silverman, a partner at Ansel Glink, and then beginning in August, you will see Greg Jones sitting to my left. Greg has an extensive background as a city planner and zoning administrator before taking the leap to the legal side. So we welcome Ansel Glink. David, thank you for being here tonight. Part of that change also has us adjusting our meeting schedule. We have traditionally been on Tuesday evenings. The second Tuesday will be adjusting to the fourth Tuesday of the month going forward, and also into 2026. So you'll see those meeting dates in our packet, but we're excited about this new opportunity. So looking forward to that. And then I'm very pleased to announce the appointment of Stephanie Harper Stefanik to the Zoning Board of Appeals following the consent agenda vote tonight. And in keeping with my conversation about communications, you may have seen on the village Facebook page that we have a fancy new table skirt and giveaway items that we're handing out at Market and Music. The stress balls, which were Patrick's idea for the kids, have been a big hit, as well as the koozies. So Tom Whitaker is going to tag team with me tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing everyone at the Touch-A-Truck, where our fire rescue team will have all the trucks available for little kids to climb all over from 5:30 to 7 at Clarkson Park. And again, just encourage everyone to sign up for the village website. You'll see our new QR code here that you can scan to either sign up for our newsletter lists or to access the board packets. So that's all I have tonight from my perspective as a sort of a report. I wanted to move on to public comment, and as you all know, at all of our public meetings, we open the floor to those who wish to address the village board. If anyone would like to make a comment this evening, please join us.
Kathy Estabrook, 1620 Mount Pleasant. I want to talk a little bit about the 1622 building on Willow. The two parking spots that are at the west end of the parking lot there, I'd like to see if maybe we could somehow consider them to be compact cars, because lately a big Rivian has been backing into that spot. And so in order to, when you're pulling out onto Linder, trying to get onto Willow, the traffic that's coming from the east going west, you can't see them coming. So you have to pull out almost into the traffic that's going eastbound. So it's just something that I'd like us to look into if we could do that.
Okay.
That would be great. And I'd also like to take the time to thank the park board. I guess this isn't the right really place to do it, but I don't know where else to do it, about the wonderful salute to the chief. It was amazing. I mean, people actually stood in the rain and listened to the speeches. I saw some of you there and was happy to see you guys. And I just think it came off so well. I missed some of you at 4th of July, but it's nice to know that you'll be there tomorrow night.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Don, come on. It wouldn't be a meeting without you.
Checks in the mail, isn't it? Sorry. I'd also like to congratulate Tom and those guys that put together the Lustig thing. That was fantastic. And Steve isn't here tonight, but we just went to Blowfish for the second time. Wow, fantastic again. Now for the dirty stuff. The following rant may include redundancy, repetition, questionable grammar, and slightly unveiled sarcasm. I'm here tonight to point out an inequity in our village that I believe should be proactively addressed. The confluence of this inequity, the corner of Winnetka Avenue and Hap Road, an intersection that for years has hosted a slew of temporary traffic lights, hanging traffic lights, while being fully functional, but the lights have not been completely turned on. What's the inequity there? It's a daily battle of north and south versus east and west. Facing Winnetka Avenue, the housings that face Winnetka Avenue have lighted left turn signals, both eastbound and westbound. The north-south Hap, they are unlit. The fixtures are there. The lights do work if they're turned on, but they're unlit. Now, we're all waiting for the completion of surveys and reports and actions regarding the Hap Road project, and for those hanging lights to be replaced with permanent traffic fixtures. But meanwhile, those of us who travel to and from Winnetka Avenue via Hap Road continue to wait and wait and wait while we grudgingly live out the chorus from Tom Petty's "The waiting is the hardest part." That's what we're singing in our cars. Our local school fall sessions start in a few weeks. That, combined with work rush hours, the usual Edens Highway traffic delays, will no doubt increase road use in that area. It's time to flip the literal and proverbial switch and provide equal and timely access to each and every commuter coming from any directions to that intersection. Now, if President Ronald Reagan was around and looked at this conundrum, he'd probably say, Northfield, well, turn on those lights. God, that's a terrible impression. And since I'm making up parables here, finally, picture a modern-day Moses coming down the mount, sees the current situation, and commands, "Let my people turn." Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Don.
What a crowd.
Okay, anyone else? All right, let's move on to, may I have a motion to approve the bills and disbursements from June 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025?
Second.
Patrick, anything you would like to discuss with us?
Sure. There are several items highlighted in your packet. Page 5 and 6 are sales tax rebate and the Glenview Dispatch Center costs, respectively. Page 10 is what I believe is our final payment for BS&A, our computer system that we put into play that is working very well for us. That was the setup and training. And then finally on page 12, and we'll be talking more about this later, is the deposit for McCann for the Village Hall window replacement project. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Anybody from the board have any questions? From the public? Nope. Okay, hearing none, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Orth?
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker?
Yes.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Gallen?
Yes.
Trustee Yedis?
Yes.
Trustee Elfman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next on the agenda is the consent items. This is the section of our agenda where one vote can be called to approve a number of items. Are there any items that any board member would like to remove from the consent agenda?
President Menrick, I'd request item number 5, ratification of the award of the 2025 window replacement project to McCann Window and Exterior in the amount of $49,584 be removed.
Okay. Do we talk about that now, or do we talk about that? We do the vote first? Thank you. Okay, so after taking that item out, number 5,
Do we need a second on that, or?
Yes.
Yes, I second that motion by trustee Whitaker.
Thank you.
okay. All right, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
The first item is the approval of the minutes from June 17th, 2025. The second is the approval of a resolution approving the review of executive session minutes of the President and Board of Trustees. The third is the consent of the appointment of Craig Jones of Ansel Glink as the village attorney. The fourth is the adoption of the following items regarding the regular meetings of the village board and committee of the whole. One is the ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Village Code, and the second is a resolution revising the 2025 schedule of regular meetings. The next is the adoption of an updated investment policy, and the last item is the consent to appoint Stephanie Harper Stefanik to the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill a vacancy for a term ending September 1st, 2029.
Point of order, don't we have to vote on the removal of number 5 before we go to the consent agenda items?
You can do that, yes. Some communities choose to do it as a right of privilege of each of the elected officials, but you can certainly more formally do that if you'd like. Yes,
It's not required.
Okay.
it's not required.
Do you want to? I don't care.
No, I'm fine. I'd like to just get back on track because I can't even read the paper here in front of me that tells me what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. They've been read into the record. Now I think it's a time for a vote. Deputy Clerk, please help me.
Trustee Orth?
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker?
Yes.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Gallen?
Yes.
Trustee Yedis?
Yes.
Trustee Elfman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. The next item on the agenda are action items, and number 8 is, okay, sorry. We're going to go back to number 5, the resolution to the award of the window replacement project. And Patrick, you need to share some information with us on that.
I do, and you know, I normally try to put it together a pretty smooth agenda. This is one that is definitely not that tonight. It's been kind of a frustrating 3 or 4 days. So the first point of frustration comes on agenda item number 5. This is one where we talked previously, we budgeted a window replacement project. The village board agreed to budget $60,000 for that project. Holly went through and gave a number of window companies tours of Village Hall. We got pricing together, and we were prepared to move forward with this project, sign an agreement, made our deposit. Friday morning, the representative from McCann Windows came into my office, hat in hand, and said he made a grievous error. They underbid the project by almost $9,000. And they returned our deposit and said, we're sorry, we cannot do the work. We understand if you don't want to do any business with us. We would love to do the project for you, but we messed up and we apologize, and backed out of the agreement, technically. So since that time, I've talked to them, I've met with the company president. I firmly believe that this was truly just an honest error on their part, that when they started going through their quality control process and entering the order for Pella, they realized the mistake and started the scramble. What I'd ask for is the board's permission to adopt the document as presented, but instead of 49,548, the amount would be 57,300, so $57,300. I got an email just before the board meeting, that's the best they can do on that difference. If you approve this, it's still less than our budgeted amount, and it's still almost $6,000 less than the two next closest proposers of windows. It's a little messy, it's a little unusual, but from talking to two different people with the company, I firmly believe this was honestly just a simple mistake on their part that looks bad, but still comes in for us on our budget, should you approve it.
Patrick, have we worked with them before on any other window projects or any other projects for the village?
Not that I'm aware of. The Pella showroom is in town. This installer, the person we're working with actually is a Northfield resident. Their business is just across the border in Northbrook, so he's taking it very personally. So it's our first time with them. Next year in the budget season, I'd like to do some more windows. The first floor needs some help also, with some windows and doors. But I've seen nothing from this company thus far that indicates they're gaming our system.
And their references are good as far as other people
Yeah,
you spoke
they
to?
are a Pella Platinum dealer, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a comment, and everybody makes mistakes. I totally get it. And I think the fact that, they did sign a contract, they backed out of it. I mean, we have recourse. But any recourse we have is going to cost tens and fifteens and $20,000. And I look at, they've worked, they've done their best, they've sharpened their pens, and my opinion is that by the time you get more people in, reschedule and do things again, we're going to be behind the eight ball. So my vote, or my opinion, is to move forward with McCann.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? All right, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Orth?
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker?
Yes.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes, we didn't make
Trustee
a motion.
Gallen?
Yes.
Hold on, we need to make a motion.
There's a motion and
And
a
a
second.
second.
So
I threw the original curveball, so I should have just made my statement and then made a motion, so I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the new numbers that you presented to us.
Patrick, can you just remind us what the new number is?
I'm requesting ratification of the award of the window replacement project to McCann Window and Exterior in the amount of $57,300.
I make a motion that we approve that new amount for $57,000 per the village manager. 57.3 per the village manager's updated figures.
Second.
Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Orth?
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker?
Yes.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Gallen?
Yes.
Trustee Yedis?
Yes.
Trustee Elfman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. At the risk of making another mistake, we're going to move on to the individual action items. Number 8, which is the approval of a resolution awarding the 2025 Bosworth Sidewalk Project to and authorizing execution of agreement with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors in the amount not to exceed $264,070. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Patrick, any background you want to provide on this at all?
Absolutely. Here's the next step in the sausage-making process of the evening. This is an example where the Bosworth project actually came in over the engineer's estimate, the engineer's initial estimate. The village was successful in getting a grant from Cook County through the Invest in Cook grant program to pay for approximately half of the sidewalk project. The initial estimate for the cost and the grant application request was based on what I'll call a windshield survey of the sidewalk areas on Bosworth. When they got into full survey work, they identified storm structures, additional sidewalk squares that must be removed to make sure that they get the right slope for the accessible sidewalks. All that revised the engineer's estimate. The revised engineer's estimate and the bid price were within hundreds of dollars, but it is about $42,000 more than what we anticipated in the capital budget, $42,370 to be exact. So in the board report, I stated that we would come up with some ideas of how we would cover that gap, because the staff recommendation is that you award this project to A-Lamp. They're a good company for doing flat concrete work. We've got a couple sources, and one of those, and the most obvious, is annually we budget $100,000 for replacement of lead service lines. The residents don't replace that many a year. We almost never hit that amount, and last year we had zero spent of that $100,000. So I believe that during the course of this fiscal year, it's unlikely we'll use all of that $100,000. So the additional gap of $42,370 can come from that line item, and we'll be fine for the capital budget. And because of that offsetting amount, I'd recommend that you adopt this as presented.
Okay, any questions from any board members? Anything from the public? Okay, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Orth?
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker?
Yes.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Gallen?
Yes.
Trustee Yedis?
Yes.
Trustee Elfman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item number 9, the approval of a resolution awarding the 2025 West Frontage Water Main Project 2 and authorizing execution of the agreement with the low responsible bidder. Patrick, tell us about this, because we have a little issue here as well.
Sure. If this is going to be a little unusual, if I could start with a motion in the second to get it on, and then I'll explain what I'd ask you to do this evening.
Motion to approve item number 9.
Second?
So this is the end of the messy ones for the evening. This is a situation where we put this project out for bid. We only received one bid. The timing of this bidding, in my opinion, was not our best work, because it's the heat of the summer. The good contractors for water main installations are busy. And we had this teed up to come in the day before the board meeting, so we didn't have much time to react. My goal was to get this before you on your agenda that gets released on Thursday, so we could react quickly to the bids and not lose time, but that this project could be done in this summer, fall season before the snow hits, because this is a problem water main for us. Unfortunately, we only got one bid back. That bid came back 68% higher than the engineer's estimate. So in an unusual move, it's my request that you vote no for this item, which will effectively reject the bid, with the intent that I'm going to repackage this with our engineers, put it back on the street in the late September, early October time period, and bid it out as a early winter, late spring project, giving them the option for either, and see what kind of pricing we can get.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Did you need to
I
add
do, I
something?
want to, Patrick and I discussed this before the meeting today. And at the time, when we were talking about it, I said, keep it on the agenda and just proceed with it. However, in thinking about it, because of a parliamentary quirk about a motion maker voting against their own motion, I would suggest an amendment to this to just reject it outright. I know that's contrary to what we discussed, but in thinking about it as we're sitting here, that's the proper thing to do. So you would need an amendment to this to simply reject it outright, which would enable the motion maker to vote yes in that instance.
So do I need to rescind my motion?
You can rescind your motion and then amend it.
So I rescind my motion on action item number 9.
And Trustee Whitaker, you were the second
I
for
was.
that. Are you comfortable?
I rescind my second.
Thank you.
As well.
So then should I make a
Yes.
make a motion, or should he make it?
He did.
Right.
You rescinded and then made the motion to reject outright. We do need a second on that.
I just didn't hear him say to reject outright. I just heard him make a motion to rescind.
I rescind the motion and we reject it. I reject it outright.
Second. Whatever.
Now we call roll on that.
Okay.
Yes, call roll on that.
Did we have any questions from the board or the public before?
Other than what's happening?
Point of clarification, we vote yes to reject.
Yeah,
We vote yes on
so-
this motion to reject the project.
Yes. Yes.
A yes vote is a no that we don't do the project.
Okay, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Orth?
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker?
Yes.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Gallen?
Yes.
Trustee Yetis?
Yes.
Trustee Elfman?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
I promise Holly will make this look so much better in the minutes.
I was gonna just say, I don't think that there's anything anybody should be upset with or embarrassed about. It's stuff that's happened that's completely out of our control, that's been happened at the last minute, and thank you for your guidance tonight, but we've never had this happen before, so
Right.
it's all good. I mean,
And
We
hopefully
end up
it
doing the right thing, and that's what we do.
won't again.
You did the right thing.
Okay, moving on. Item number 10, approval of a resolution authorizing the execution of a proposal from IMS Infrastructure Management Services for a roadway condition assessment in the amount not to exceed $29,575.
Motion to approve, I guess?
Second.
Patrick, is there anything you need to tell us about this one, please?
Just a quick overview. It's been over 10 years since we've had a real physical assessment of our roadways. Everything's been kind of a windshield survey. This project will let us get that technical assessment of our road conditions. We'll be able to rate them based on classification. It'll help me plan future work. The extra piece of this is, under this joint purchasing agreement pricing, there's a minimum of 30 lane miles. We don't have 30 lane miles of village streets. So I can include all the private lanes and still stay under our 30 lane amount. So what we'll do if the board approves this evening, I'll send, with Steve, we'll send emails out to all the associations for the private lanes and say, if you don't want us to do your street, please tell us. Otherwise, we're coming through and doing this. And we will send you the data. For those owners and private lanes, they pay the same property taxes, but don't get all the same services. This is an easy way for us, for something we'd want to do anyway, to be able to give them some actionable data about their road condition. And in the future, maybe we can partner on future asphalt projects to help get better prices for everybody.
Yeah. What do they actually do? What would neighbors, residents be seeing when this happens?
They will see a white van with cameras that'll look a little bit like they're taking the kind of Google through, but for the white van. And I can't remember if this one has the road deflection where they pull a trailer behind it and it actually drops a weight on the roadway to see how much the asphalt moves to tell about the undersurface. So for sure, van with lasers that measure the street, look for cracks. Second, and I need to check, is whether or not they do the deflection that tells you whether you can just resurface or if you need to do the full rehab of the road.
And
Patrick, do they do any core borings on that? Because I know the county has had them doing core borings on the Winnetka Avenue Bridge area before that project. Do they do anything like that as well?
None. This is totally what I would call non-destructive.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Anything from the public? Yes, Don?
I'll do it right here, because I know. Is there a way to keep us up to date on the Edens Highway Bridge? A few neighbors have received registered mail a few months ago. I'm in that area also, we are also. But anything you receive from IDOT, from the county, from any of them, is there a way to keep us up to date? Doesn't have to be on the Village of Northfield website, but somehow, some way.
Sure, and for the people at home, the question was, with the IDOT work on the Winnetka Road Bridge, some residents in the immediate area are getting contact from IDOT. Can the village help keep them posted? At the last board meeting, I gave the most current update of the information we've had. I've not heard anything from them since, so I honestly don't know what the new update's about. So I'll see if I can find out from the project engineer.
They are doing some coring right there now, the last few days. So I'm not sure if we're talking next year for demolition, replacement, or what.
They, IDOT in the correspondence indicated it's their fiscal year 27 project. And I think the state's fiscal year is October? I think it's in October. So it could be a 2027 project or it could be a 2028 project because they're saying it's mid-cycle. They're in phase one assessment, which is preliminary design, and now they're going out doing assessments of the road conditions, where's the house, the road soil, et cetera. So they're not very far along yet. They're just in preliminary design.
And we'll make sure that if we receive any other information, we'll include it in newsletters and other things like that if it's relevant to, you know, a large group. Okay, the next item of his business is our trustee.
Oh, we got to vote on that.
Oh, God. Okay.
We had a motion.
Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Orth?
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker?
Yes.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Gallen?
Yes.
Trustee Yedis?
Yes.
Trustee Elfman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Wow. Okay. Moving on to trustee liaison reports, and I just wanted to include one thing before we mentioned that there are new dates for the coming board meetings, and I just wanted to say these out loud again. Our August board meeting will be the 26th. Our September meeting will be September 30th and October 28th. So those are the meeting dates that will be changing, and we'll certainly include all of that in social posts and update our website, et cetera, et cetera. And now, trustee liaison reports. Does anybody have anything they want to share from any of their committees? Nope, okay. The departmental reports were provided in our packet. Do trustees have any questions related to any of those? Nope. Oh,
I do.
okay,
4th of July, seeing our drones in the sky
yes.
was very cool. I mean, Officer Malinowski, he was all focused. I mean, he's a pilot. You don't talk to him while they're getting them set up, but, you know, just realizing what they can do and what they can see and how far they can go. I'm so glad we have those as a resource in our community on so many different levels, from, you name it, we can use it. But it was, you know, the signage out there let everybody know, and I didn't hear anybody complain, which sometimes you do, but
Yeah.
it was just really cool to see the eyes in the sky.
Yeah, it's a great tool for us, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and the signage was well done, too. It was
Yep.
nice to, like, you couldn't miss it when you walked into any of the entry points, so that was great.
I promise I have nothing else.
I
Okay,
have one other thing. I would also like to welcome David Silverman, our new attorney, and his group, Greg Jones and Ansel Glick, to the Village of Northfield. I think this is something that we've been looking at for a while, and I think his professionalism and his knowledge will greatly help our village and our board meetings, as it's always been demonstrated tonight. And so, welcome.
Notwithstanding some of the choppiness, we're glad to be here. Thank you.
you can't change your mind.
We're not changing our mind. It'll get better, I promise.
You're doing great. Thank you.
Wow, it was the shortest meeting we've had, and it was the toughest. But anyway, Patrick, anything you want to report from the village manager perspective?
I've done enough, thank you.
Okay. All righty then. Chief Hutensky, anything you want to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. Great. All righty. On that note, we're going to conclude tonight's business. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn this wonderful meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, that's